No, you say it.
No, you say it.
And
action.
Welcome to the Art of the Playlist and my artistic friends who are here with me. I'm Patty Pino.
Hi,
I'm
Patty.
Christian Godbout.
Hi, Christian. I'm Robert LaFrance.
Hi, Christian and Robert.
Hello.
Nice to see both of you. That feels so formal, doesn't it? I should say Patricia Pino.
Patricia Pino, yes.
Welcome to our episode, Stick It to the Man.
And the man.
We are here today to talk about those kind of songs that speak out against the higher powers, whether that higher power be the government, the corporate system, and we'll go into detail as to the different people that get stuck to on this episode. This episode, to me, well, first I want to say something about the Art of the Playlist. One of the beauties of you tuning into the Art of the Playlist is that Christian and Robert and I, Chris and Rob and I, are all music enthusiasts, professional music people over the years, professional corporate people over the years, who are here to give you our curated songs, things that inspire us, things that help us find something new in our lives. You're dealing with human beings. We're actual people, not robots or AI personalities. So
it's a nice change.
One of the things that, pardon me?
It's a nice change.
So one of the things that happens in our lives is we go to live music shows. I love going to live music, seeing bands, seeing artists, all kinds of people perform. And I recently went to see Tom Morello in concert. And Tom Morello is from Rage Against the Machine. One of you guys is going to talk about Rage. But I felt like with the climate in the world and seeing Tom Morello, it's the right moment to talk about sticking it to the man. So
can I tell a quick story before you get
Sure.
We get into our, so when the three of us have a group chat where we talk about upcoming episodes, ideas, what we want to talk about. And so Patty was the one that originally floated the Stick It to the Man theme. So Chris and I started kind of riffing on types of songs to include, and Patty squarely objected to every song that we brought up, claiming that we weren't in the exact definition of the theme, like the Stick It to the Man theme. So Patty was very intellectual and explained to us that there had to be a specific target of the angst, not just some general protest song or a song with angry lyrics. There had to be more to it than that. So with Slackerish Rebellion, Christian and I, almost at the same time, both responded with various forms of that Rage Against the Machine lyric, F you, I won't do what you tell me. So,
and you didn't.
And the moral of the story is that, number one, we both still have the mentality of a child. So that's number one. And two, we don't like to be told what to do. But therefore, my songs may not precisely fit the theme of the episode. And I don't care.
But, no, and some of us are capable of following direction, and some of us aren't.
Fair enough.
Well, my attempt at clarifying, I wasn't trying to tell you what to do, but my attempt at clarifying what we were doing is there's a lot of angry music that just speaks to the angst of being a human, as opposed to aiming at being some sort of a protest or stick it to the man type of thing. So that's where we're at with all this. So why don't we try again? Christian?
Go to something you actually follow directions first. That probably makes sense.
We'll save the real rebel for the last.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I stuck with the theme of punk music because I thought that's what the assignment was. So, it's fine. That's part of the beauty of this, is we can do what we want. I know you had, when we were discussing songs, you immediately claimed you wanted Rage. And I said, okay, you can have Rage. That's fine. But I'm taking the Sex Pistols. All right. So I took Anarchy in the UK as one of my top songs because it's the Sex Pistols, and what a great song, right? Talk about all the economic crap that was going on in Britain when that came out, and Johnny Rotten really brought it to life. So that was a great song in my opinion. I brought in some other songs too. I thought back about the time, like when I was in high school, when we were in high school, and the songs then, like the Dead Kennedys came to mind, right? And the Clash, um, and Suicidal Tendencies, right? Institutionalized. Remember that? I mean, what a great song! And it was just one of those things that we were just always singing. Um, and it definitely was a teen rebellion song, in my opinion. Uh, and I was thinking about something, just tying back to some previous music that we had done, and we're all big Doors fans. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the song "Los Angeles" by X was actually produced by Ray Manzarek from the Doors. So I found that very interesting, and thought I'd kind of try to tie things in from our past as well. Um, and then I was also thinking too about our time on the radio in the 90s, and Green Day had just come out at that time. And that was a great punk band too, before they kind of went sort of not so much in my opinion, but that's another conversation for another time. But Longview, right? What a great song that was when that came out. Uh,
I saw
so,
Longview on your list, Christian. I didn't even realize that was a Stick It to the Man song.
oh yeah, well, it talks about boredom and laziness and frustration with the life path and what's the expectations and things like that. So, um, it does kind of stick it to the man in some regard. Maybe not as in your face as a London Calling or something like that by the Clash, but or God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols, right? 'Cause that's very clear what that's about. But I still thought that it was pretty interesting. Could have gone on too if I had digressed from punk. I was thinking about NWA and KRS-One and things like that too. But yeah, I think that's just kind of the highlights of my list. I also did publish my list on Spotify already. I don't know if you guys had a chance to check that out, but recommend that you look at AOP, the Art of the Playlist on Spotify. How's that for a plug, Patty?
Awesome. You're tremendous, Christian. You are a rule follower.
Do I get a gold star? Tell me I get a gold star.
Like that.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
It's funny that you brought up a bunch of bands that also hit my playlist, but different tunes, so different vibe in terms of what they were talking about. I also have the Dead Kennedys. I have the Clash. I have Black Flag. Those are
Yeah.
some of the classic punk bands. But I wanted to highlight bands that are on punk and on the edge of punk. You talked about Green Day, so I'll start with them. Um, Green Day, American Idiot. The entire album is a
Mm.
Stick It to the Man album. It's a punk rock opera that talks about a guy moving through life and all the things that are frustrating and difficult to him. But the song American Idiot itself, the title song of the album, is a reaction to the first presidential administration of George W. Bush. It came out
Mhm.
in September 2004, and George W. Bush was up for reelection in November of that year, November 2004. He did get reelected. But I think Green Day was putting it out, and the timing of them putting it out, it was to bring awareness to the post 9/11 stuff, the war in Iraq. Everyone was weary of all this stuff. And they referred in the lyrics to that song as the subliminal mindfuck America. And I think those words ring true today as well.
Uh,
Um,
it actually seems like it's much better than today. Today, it seems more extreme than that.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
it's tremendously more extreme than at that time. This was before smartphones were out, but there were more advanced cell phones. So there was a lot of things that led to all of it. And what I like about that song, not only what it has to say, but also the way it's produced. It's heavy guitar, punchy guitar, and then it's silent when the lyrics are being said. Not throughout the whole song, but it provides a give and take with the music and the lyrics, and it really highlights the message of the music.
Mm.
Um, and fast forward to today, American Idiot came out as a Broadway show, so it's certainly those lyrics and that attitude is something that resonates in current times as well, even though the album came out in 2004.
Yeah, that's a great
Uh,
one, Patton.
Thanks. Um, the next song I want to highlight was one of the inspirational things for this entire podcast, and that is when I went to see Tom Morello. I'm not going to do Tom Morello or Rage, but his opening act was a band who's like a punk rock, hip hop, rap group called the Neighborhood Kids. They're out of San Diego. They're young. It was their first tour, world tour, going out with Morello. And they did a song called Who's Next? It's a reaction to corporatization of healthcare in this country, and also the Luigi Mangione killing of the CEO of
Yeah.
United Healthcare. Some of the lyrics are white collar crimes, but their hands are red, and they're stained from the blood of these hospital beds. Monopolize lives, and they legalize theft. Legalized murder, leaving people in debt. Legalized murder, leaving people in debt. Now, if you kill someone, then you're going to face imprisonment, but do it in a suit and tie, and you're labeled as a businessman.
Hmm.
And so it's pretty potent. That entire band is dedicated to doing protest music. The theme the night I saw them was about ICE and the immigration issues that are going on currently in our country. So it was interesting to see them perform, and it was pretty inspirational to hear what they had to say.
Patty, was it squarely like punk rock, or was it some different vibe?
It was, well, hip hop, rap, punk, all
Oh,
together.
hip hop rap. Yeah. Okay. Yep, yep.
Yeah. So there's two main vocalists, a guy and a girl, if that's the way they identify, but that's what they appeared to be. But it was a real street vibe. There was a DJ and musicians with them together, and the lyricists doing the music. It was pretty cool.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. And the last song I'm going to highlight is also a little bit of a different vibe. It's actually a mellow song, even though it's a protest song, from 2006, the Sinners album, Joan Jett. Joan Jett's career, she came out back in the day, but she's still producing stuff and talking on stuff. She actually does a couple radio shows on Little Steven's Underground Garage on satellite radio. And she's very politically active. So I would consider her a rock musician and an activist similar to Tom Morello. And she did a song. It was the middle of George W. Bush's second term, and it was a kind of a dejected time for the country. Everyone was weary of all the stuff and the fact that he got reelected. And verse 4 of the Riddles tune goes, "Big Brother is watching you. They're taking all your rights away. Don't claim that you represent me, because I don't believe a word that you say." And I think that everyone in these days that resonates pretty strongly with politics in general. It all feels corrupt, no matter who you believe in or represent, or I think most of us feel like none of it is representative of the American people, honestly. So, and then I want to do one extra, because sometimes we're a little extra. It's just a nod to my comedy life. There's a comedy parody group out of Essex, England, called The Cunts with a K, and they have a song called "Donald Trump is a Cunt." It's truly good to listen to.
All
Patty,
right.
I just love that you said "cunt" twice on the same episode.
With a K.
Okay,
Oh,
right. It's all
And
in the
it's the
spelling,
British
Rob.
one. So, Rob, why don't you enlighten us with your anti-establishment, anti-punk protest list?
Well, I'll start out with so similar to you, Patty. I have some rap in here, but so I'll start when I was in college. I took an elective course on experimental and computer music, and it was a college course. It was highfalutin. In class, we talked about some classical pieces, and we talked about some of the early electronic music pioneers that did like minimal and electronic music. One of them was a guy named Steve Reich. So I don't know if you've heard of him, but Steve Reich used to take like loops of tape, reel-to-reel tape, that he would combine them. He'd do like 15 different tape loops in his studio, record it, and then play them all at different times, at different speeds, and they would interact with each other and kind of evolve into these compositions that subtly changed over time. It was kind of interesting, but not exactly compelling to a college kid. So as the rebel that I am, I went a completely different direction. They asked us to do a paper on one of the most influential experimental music people that we liked. And for me at the time, this was the early 90s, experimental music was hip hop. So using samplers to combine drum loops and melodic hooks, and that all those kind of loops kind of evoked that Steve Reich mentality from Class. So I figured maybe I'd do well on the paper because it was somehow tied in. But I chose to write that paper. But the artist I chose to focus on was Public Enemy. So Public Enemy had a production team called the Bomb Squad who made really dense layers of like spoken word and drum loops and samples of sirens, all combined with really aggressive lyrics and aggressive rhythms. So given the theme of Stick It to the Man, a lot of the lyrics were politically charged from Chuck D and Flava Flav. And the song that really came to mind was Fight the Power off of their 1989 debut album,
Great
Fear of a
song.
Black Planet. So
Yeah.
that targeted the man in the form of racism, advocated for freedom of speech, and squarely took aim at Elvis and John Wayne. And so to me, that was kind of the epitome of the Stick It to the Man. So Fight the Power was the name of the song. That was the first thing that came to mind when we had this theme idea.
Makes
Great song.
sense.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The second one that I thought of was kind of a year before that. When I was finishing up high school, I was keen to take out my teenage angst on my parents. So
As we do.
All of us.
right. And at the time, they loved that like soft hippie music from the 70s, like Linda Ronstadt or Simon and Garfunkel. So one really easy way to annoy them was to completely blast as loud as I could aggressive atonal music from the boombox in my room upstairs from them. So my go-to at the time was the Pixies debut album Surfer Rosa.
Oh, yeah.
God knows how I found out about that album or even acquired it on cassette tape, but it 100% achieved the objective to annoy my parents. So that was really fun. I mean, you're talking about shrieking guitars and a screaming Black Francis. So it really fit the bill. But the song that was kind of the centerpiece of my annoyance to my parents was fittingly called Something Against You by the Pixies. That was the song that really got my parents to beg me to turn that awful music down. So that was my second one I featured.
That's
Perfect.
fantastic.
Loud music in protest as a teenager. That's the way we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
I still
And-
blast the radio loud when I'm ticked off in the car.
I
Yep.
do it at home. Yeah, I crank up the stereo. Now it's my daughter that yells at me to turn it down. I can't win.
The tides have turned, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And the last song that I wanted to feature was a live performance. And so this is a live performance that turned really into like a moral statement and an act of defiance in a live performance. Do you know there's a guy by the name of Haile Selassie who is famous in the Rastafari community, and there was a performance that Bob Marley did on stage that used his lyrics that called for like anti-colonialism and human rights.
I saw that in the documentary about Marley. Mhm.
Yep. And it was Haile Selassie was a authoritarian type of emperor. So like not exactly kind of the what you'd expect from Bob Marley, but very much the lyrics set off the tone of railing against racism and classism, advocating for human rights. So it really kind of fits the theme. And the song that resonated most closely is that I'm talking about is called War and No More Trouble from Live at the Pavilion de Paris in 1997. So that Bob Marley song is, you've got to hear the live version, because the raw energy and the interaction with the crowd, it makes it feel more like a sermon than it does anything else. So that was really, when I thought of reggae music in general is often protest music, but this one in particular felt like it captured the theme precisely. So that was my last pick. And to my earlier lack of ability to follow direction, I didn't do Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, how
After
So that's
calling
it.
it, you called it.
Go ahead, you could do it now if you want.
No, I don't want to do it now. Did you have any Dolly Parton on your list?
So it's funny because I did talk to my wife about this song, and she is not a punk by any means. She's the complete opposite. She's a rule follower. So I talked to her about this list, and she goes, "You know what you should also include is 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton, because that was an anti-establishment,
she,
a woman's lib kind of song for in the
yes,
early 70s."
Yeah, it
So I'm like,
was.
yeah, that makes sense. That is on my playlist. Once you log on and you'll see my
that is the
playlist.
Stick It to the Man song.
That's a
All
Stick It to
right,
the Man
so I'm
song.
Shout
gonna
out to
so I'm gonna
Bernadette.
say this. Rage is one of our favorite bands, all three of us, and many others. I'm wearing a Tom Morello t-shirt. I'm gonna stand up for a minute. It says "Destroy American Fascism." I just don't want it to say, "Think you folks think I wore a t-shirt that says Destroy America." It says Destroy American Fascism. Chris, you need to go back and add a Rage song to your list. I'm putting a Rage song on my list, and Rob, you got to put a Rage song on your list. So even though we didn't highlight them here, we got to give props to them as motivational protest folks. I marched with them in 2008 in Denver, Colorado, with Iraq veterans against the war. To march against the war in Iraq. So
That's awesome.
I feel a strong connection to them. So
Yeah, that I'll definitely I'll publish it. There's a couple other crazy ones on my list. Like when I was talking to my wife, I was going through and kind of looking up different playlists, and the one that I found that I thought was surprising in a way was "Freedom" by Beyonce. Do you know that song? I think she did it at one of the Super Bowls or her performances.
Oh,
But
yeah, it's kind
it
of
has
ringing the
Kendrick
bell.
Lamar in it, and that's another rail against, you know, the it was probably anti-racism. I don't remember exactly, but it's a really strong protest song that is fittingly, and I did put that on my list too. So that's another odd one that's on my list.
Rage
well,
also has a song named Freedom.
who does?
Rage Against the
Oh,
Machine.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, in the true spirit of punk can be anybody that's out there speaking, DIY, doing their thing. So, if we're talking about the broad definition, Rob, your 9 to 5 is right in the wheelhouse.
And who doesn't like Dolly Parton?
That's
I mean,
true. She's loved by all.
yes, she is.
And you know what I love about this podcast? It just gives you the time to really explore a theme and come up with songs and think about the music in a much deeper way than you would just listen to, the random playlist that you get from Spotify or something like that. Like it just makes you focus on the music at a much more significant level, which I think makes the enjoyment of the music even higher. So this is a lot of fun to do with you guys. So thank you.
I agree. I like
Oh.
giving the context to the songs. I really enjoy that part. Yeah, this is fun.
Okay. Well, we're all very enthusiastic about each other, about the fact that we're pulling together these playlists, and about sticking it to the man. So thanks for joining us on the Stick It to the Man episode. Thanks for joining us on the Art of the Playlist. My mom's going to be very upset with you, Christian.
Oh, no, you can't share your mom. No, I don't want to be on her list.
Don't forget to go out to Spotify and listen to what we have to share with you in terms of the playlist. Check out playlists from our previous episodes and keep watching us for the future, and come back and hear us again. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, so.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye now.